We're asking if Rishi Sunak's promise in today's Sunday Times to slash up benefits for the sick and disabled, to part fund tax cuts for everybody else, and by part fund it's about 15% of the money could be raised through cutting benefits for that tax cuts, 15%. We're asking if that might win your vote. Well, Paul Mason, journalist, trade unionist, social justice campaigner, has been waiting to have a word. Good morning to you, Paul.
Good morning.
Good morning. So the return of the nasty party.
I see you've got your headphones fixed.
Thank you for noticing. Yes, indeed. Mikey the tech has got us all sorted out. We're back in business. I say the return of the nasty party. There'll be many listeners, I'm sure, thinking right at the moment the nasty party never really went away. But with stories today saying that most people didn't perceive Jeremy Hunt's 2p off national insurance as any kind of gain for them. They don't see it as more money in their pocket because of council tax rises and the cost of living. How do you think another attack on benefits, on the sick and the disabled, will play out?
Well, you said that we might get a fiscal event later in the year where some of this might be done. The event I want to see is a general election.
Here to that.
I don't think, in all fairness to the Conservatives, you are handling an economy that is basically stagnant, it's not growing, and no government wants to be in that situation. The problem they have is they don't have a mandate for the big things they're now saying they want to do. Abolish national insurance, 40 billion a year hole in the public finances if you do that. If a Labour politician stood up and said, hey everyone, I'm thinking of doing something that would take 40 billion out of the Treasury a year, there'd be outrage, wouldn't there?
There would. I mean, we know that from the Green Pledge, the £28 billion Green Pledge, which wasn't even coming out of general taxation.
Absolutely. So what the background to this is that the Conservatives in the current budget have found that by predicting that there will be more people in work, they can get away with tax cuts that would otherwise lead to the books not being balanced and the same panic that we saw over Liz Truss. So because the Office for Budget Responsibility, which is the watchdog that keeps an eye on the Treasury, said, OK, let's see, it's a plausible thing that you might get 300,000 extra people into work if you do various tweaks to the tax system. They've now generalized this. They've basically said, all right, let's do more of that. But it's fantasy island economics. It's because there are 2.5 million people, as you said before, and as your previous caller said, who can't work. I've got no doubt that the vast majority of those people would work if they could. It's no fun being sitting at home, whether it's with mental health problems, whether it's with physical disability, whether it's with the kind of long-term chronic diseases that are the products of the kind of society we live in. But for me, the way to solve that, if we do want to help as many of those people as possible play an active part in society, then what we should do is focus on investing in public health. So, the long-term sicknesses that people are dealing with, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, these are things that can be attacked through public health measures, and they're not being. But the investment in public health isn't happening. So instead, we're getting this punitive suggestion: throw them all back into work or whip their benefits away. But just misery.
But ultimately, our unelected Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, has got one eye on a general election. And I'm guessing that the only thing that matters to him about this proposal, this idea, is whether it wins him a few more votes on polling day. Will it, do you think? I mean, it's worked. The nasty party worked very well electorally back in the 90s, not so well when Tony Blair came into power. And now maybe we're seeing the return.
I honestly think this is a clueless party. It doesn't really know what to do about the serious problems we're facing in our country. This 2.5 million people long-term sick is a problem. It is a problem for them. It is a problem for the economy. Having armed forces that can't field the capabilities that we need to face down Vladimir Putin, that is a problem. But what the Tories have become a party that keeps using this word aspiration. We have an aspiration to spend 2.5% of GDP on defence, but we can't. We have an aspiration to get the tax bill down, but we can't. We'd love to get some of these people back into work. Fat chance of that. And I think it's become a kind of, I don't think Rishi Sunak is concentrated on becoming an elected prime minister this October or even this May. I think he's concentrating, to be honest, on minimising the damage. And if you look at the polls, he did a cut, an equal size national insurance cut last October, and it didn't have
No
any
real
effect.
effect at all.
I think it's why I started with the idea of a general election. I think why people are so frustrated is that they want basically someone to say what's the solution to have an economy that doesn't grow, where so many people are sick. And I think I'm a Labour supporter. I think Labour does, but they kind of want to hear that from the Tories, and they're not hearing it. So hearing a series of kind of make-believe solutions.
Paul Mason, got to leave it there. Indebted to you getting up this Sunday morning. Thank you. Let's go straight to Claire, who's called in from Dartford. Good morning to you, Claire.
Good morning, Matthew. Nice to speak to you.
And to you too.
My situation is I'm on long-term sick, mainly through my mental health, and obviously now I'm getting older, physical health, arthritis, and which is quite painful anyway.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
But also there's another benefit that's been ripped away that not many people know about, and that's the warm home discount. And it's a benefit that was for people that before any of these help from the government with your heating and anything like that, you could apply to your own service provider, your gas or electric provider, and if you met their criteria, which was if you were on a low income, you could get help of £150 towards your
That's right.
fuel bill. I've been declined it this year, even though I meet the criteria.
Is this because do you feel that you're being characterised as some kind of lazy, work-shy, drain, burden on the society? I mean, Matthew Parris yesterday, who is not a doctor in any shape or form, basically suggested that people claiming they've got problems with their mental health are just playing the system. I mean, I just thought it was absolutely outrageous thing to say. I would have discussed it if it had been somebody with a medical, with any kind of medical background, but when it's just some lame piece of journalism. But it gives a flavour of where the right-wing media wants the government to go, and that's going after people like you. You're a burden. You're a cost, Claire.
If you've never suffered from mental health, it's so easy to say. I would love to be working. I'd love to, but I just am not reliable. The answer to the situation in this country is to make employers pay a proper living
wage. I mean,
you shouldn't have people on benefits who are working.
Jeff Bezos is back. He was briefly number 2, but he's back now, top of the pile, the world's richest man.
Yeah.
And some of the poorest taxpayers in the land are subsidising the wages of some of his workers in this country. I mean, it's insane. It's just totally insane. Claire, I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best. I know it isn't easy.